Hey guys, welcome back to Tom5tom Entertainment. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Verge's PC build video, which is a few weeks old, and they've actually taken it down since then. But I figured, better late than never. So let's take a look at it.
So a few years ago, TC, or Managing Editor,
Okay, a few years ago.
built a gaming desktop, but it's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So, what do you need to build a desktop? Well, of course, first you need a table.
What you need to build a desktop is a desk, not a table, a desk. I mean, I guess we're building a tabletop PC.
Preferably not metal. If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it, a thermal paste applicator, and
What? A thermal paste applicator? What the heck is that?
an Allen wrench, some tweezers to tighten up the wires.
Ooh, tweezers. Those are, what, cable ties? I think is what people usually call them. They're just like, zzz. That's what I call them, at least. Not...
A Swiss Army knife, which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it.
This is a sponsored video. You get your knife, and you're like, well, I hope this has a screwdriver in it. Why don't you prepare a little better for a sponsored video? I mean, I'm not very prepared for this video, but I have all the tools I need.
And last but not least, an anti-static bracelet.
Bull freaking crap. I don't remember who it was who debunked the anti-static, cordless anti-static wristband. If you had one with a cord, you're fine. It should be fine, but if you have a cordless, I'm looking around, I don't see one right now. But if you have a cordless anti-static wristband, that's not going to work. There's a video, I'll put a link to it in the description of someone debunking it. I can't remember if it's like Big Clive or EV Blog or someone.
Which is to protect you and the parts. These are the parts you're going to need, but more importantly, before we get there, we need to understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another. To better understand the parts that make up a desktop, let's try to
Ugh. This isn't how a desktop works. This is how you build
understand
one.
them individually. Then first figure out what you want to use it for. A gamer might care more about a graphics card than, say, a video editor, who might want extra RAM to
Oh my gosh, has this guy not heard of CUDA or OpenCL acceleration in video programs? Now, I understand OpenCL and CUDA acceleration is not where it should be. Hardware acceleration of video processing, say in Adobe Premiere or something, is not as good as it should be, but it's still there. A video editor is definitely going to care about a graphics card. Like, RAM is good too, but, I mean, you can have 8 gigs of RAM and still edit videos.
assist with editing large files. If you're building a budget build for video streaming, say under $1,000, you want to focus on parts.
Under $1,000 in the first... Why is there, like, a remote for a really expensive TV and then a freaking VHS tape? Like, I've never... Like, those things don't go together.
Like a Core i5 or Core i3 processor, that require less energy. They'll be less powerful, but then you'll be able to scale back the cost of several other parts.
You should be able to build a decent streaming PC for $1,000. Like, RAM is high right now, and graphics cards are coming down, but to be honest with you, I streamed on, what, an 860K, AMD 860K, I think that's an Athlon, and a 970? I don't think I streamed with a 750 Ti, but I streamed with, like, a $80 CPU.
And if you need help choosing the right parts for your build, there are sites like PCPartPicker.com that help show presets for which parts fit together, which sort of part conflicts you might have, and where to find deals on new parts.
So before you watch the Verge video, just go to PC Part Picker, go to Linus Tech Tips, Bitwit, Paul's Hardware, Gamers Nexus, and skip this bullcrap.
We have a lot of boxes and a lot of PC parts, so it's best you unbox them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit. And
realistically, you should not start out with a case this small, especially when the graphics card you can see on screen is almost as long as the case is wide, which isn't a problem, obviously, with a rectangle case, but this is more like a SFF case.
And start working. And now we're really going to start building by adding the motherboard in. Some notes about installing motherboards: they're really delicate, you should be really careful with them, and screw in with confidence.
Motherboards are really delicate? Just a minute. Then I shouldn't have done that. Something actually came off. I really hope it came off of this motherboard. Guess I shouldn't do it again. Man, it's like really slow clapping. And this motherboard they both have CPUs in them. Like this one I'm actually going to put in my NAS, and this one is kind of just a piece of crap. I'll show both of these working in a different video. Okay, let's continue.
But also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board.
I don't think you're going to crack it. The only problem I've had is stripping off some traces when I use like a really big wrench to screw in and hold while putting in a Hyper 212 Evo. Which the board still worked after that.
I chose Asus's Z37
Asus? Whatever.
Zero motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has...
Don't buy a motherboard just because it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi aren't like USB and, say, the ATX power standard. They're not going to be standard for years and years and years. Like, there's going to be... I bled for you guys. I really did bleed for you guys. Don't let that be said. The ATX power standard is going to stay here for a while, and it's never going to change on your board. But Wi-Fi standards can change, and they can be depreciated, or else there can be security vulnerabilities. Like Bluetooth has some vulnerabilities that are pretty big. Source needed. But anyway.
Support for NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace.
I'm sorry, but watching him struggle with that I/O shield is so funny.
Back of the computer. You always have to make sure that you really... The brace that goes at the
brace.
Back. Attention to the brace that goes at the brace that the brace that go the brace that the brace that goes at the back of the computer.
That's an I/O shield.
Really...
It literally tells you in the motherboard manual that is an I/O shield. I don't have my motherboard manual either. Citation needed.
Hammer it in because there's no screw. It really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important because otherwise you can't align the motherboard correctly.
Oh, yes, you can. You just align it with the standoffs, the specific standoffs of your motherboard, whether it be MATX, which he has an MATX, it looks like, EATX, ATX, or UATX, which is, or not UATX, that's micro ATX, but mini ITX.
With the holes.
You just
We're just
line
going
up
to start
with the standoffs.
installing all 8 screws.
You can install without an I/O shield, and
so next we're going to install the
it
RAM
should
on
be
the
fine.
motherboard. I chose Corsair's 16GB Vengeance LED RAM for two main reasons. One, it has LEDs and...
You know what else has LEDs? Freaking everything. You don't need LEDs on your RAM. You don't want any other components on your RAM other than RAM.
Gaming desktops. Secondly, it's pretty fast RAM. It's 2,666 megahertz.
Pretty fast, 2666. Pick one. They have over 3,000 now, and they've got even higher than that.
I believe. So it's pretty fast, and this motherboard supports that speed, which is most important.
Wonderful. Freaking wonderful.
Open the slots first, and just aligning the stick with the middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up with the logo.
The middle of the strip? Is he talking about the RAM slots? What? Like, what about just looking at the notch and matching up the notch?
So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see...
You mean click? It's not a clasp. I mean, I tell you, I'm definitely editing my video down so I don't sound stupid. But hey, it's just not a clasp.
I chose this format of solid-state drive so that I could input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy.
See, when you're first building a PC, don't worry about it getting messy, looking bad. Looks don't matter when it comes to a PC. As long as you don't have your PC shorting out on itself, you're fine. As long as you put in the standoffs behind your motherboard, you'll be fine with cables running everywhere. My PC has cables running everywhere in it. And it works just fine.
This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out.
That's pretty big for an SSD drive. But that's like saying I have a Lamborghini. It's not very fast, but you know, it's just a Lamborghini.
It's only held down by one screw and the latch, so it's really simple and really straightforward.
Yeah, because apparently he's not good with very complex things.
Speed for gaming is important when it comes to a hard drive.
No, it's not. Speed for gaming is not important when it comes to gaming. I play games on a freaking portable tablet, and it's fine.
You want files to write quickly, and you want games to load quickly, so that's why it's best if you use an SSD. Okay, so step 4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose PNY's GTX 1080, and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC case. Now, which
you should probably also align it with the PCIe slot on your motherboard.
Lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in.
I didn't notice this a second ago, but did he just put those two RAM sticks right next to each other? Because don't do that. That's not how dual channel works on most motherboards. You have to put them one slot apart to get dual channel speeds. And he's going to be running however many gigs he has in single channel.
I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom and I don't want to cover it.
That's just a stupid decision. You don't want to cover the... It doesn't matter if you cover the SSD. You should click the top one. You should select the top slot for your graphics card on most motherboards because that's kind of what they assume you're going to do because it's physically closer to the CPU, and so technically it'd be slightly faster, but also the lower slots are slower. The lower are slower in most PC motherboards. Of course, I'm going to speak terribly in this video, and I'm going to sound just as dumb as this video sounds.
Click down. Take your remaining brackets and...
Hold on, before you ever put the brackets back on... Oh, I guess he has to because he has the stupid... Well, it's not stupid, but he has that bracket. But really... Actually, yeah, he should screw in a screw inside the PC...
Just put them in the spots
before he, I'm not sure. This case is weird. It must be that you don't have to put a screw on the interior of the case.
You don't have to screw these in. They get bolted down by the back end bracket.
Okay, he said you don't have to screw the graphics card in. They get bolted down by the bracket. Oh, that... Good information. That's actually good information from this video.
And your GPU's installed.
No, it's not. You haven't hooked the power connector up. Like you can see.
Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850
It's not installed.
50-watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing
Also, when you...
GPUs when they come out. And
you chose an 850 watt, so you'll have electric or enough amperage for ray tracing GPUs when they come out. But you also picked a really small case that might not have enough room depending on how much clearance you have for GPUs in that case.
So all you have to do is take the brick and make...
The brick. Take the brick. Take the brick. I don't have a power supply on me either. I have a few hard drives, but you don't want to install the graphics card before you put in the power supply, really, I think. Because you need to be able to run your 8-pin and your 24-pin, or your 4-pin or 8-pin for your CPU, then your 24-pin motherboard connector before you run your graphics card.
Make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system.
The power supply itself is grounded. Like, it's grounded to the wall. That is how it works. So we have a 120 volt outlet that is going to there. And then we have our power supply sitting right here. And oh no, 120 volts, I'm touching the case. There's 120 volts going through my body right now. Oh no. But what happens if we take that nice little thing, oh no, touch up to my body, nothing. Because if we go into continuity, it's grounded. It's almost as if the people developing electrical standards knew what the heck they were doing.
So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back.
Way too small of a case for that power supply. Personal opinion right there.
And make sure it's right up against the frame. Now you just take the required screws and you tighten and screw in.
If you're making a how-to guide, you might want to tell me which freaking screws are coming in there, because it's not your fault, but I can't freaking see what screw that is, because you're barely showing it.
So next step, we're going to install the CPU cooler. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while.
The hose?
Until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be...
No, don't install your CPU cooler before you install your CPU. Woo!
Really. We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it.
Two completely different things. Make up your mind. It's either the heart of the brain, the heart of the brain, the heart of the brain. I would say it's the CPU of the computer.
So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard. We'll just toss that out of here.
Oh, come on. Trying to look cool while you're being a retard. You're going to need that socket cover in case you ever need to RMA your CPU or take it out for any reason. Because if you bend those pins, you will have a bad day.
And now we have an exposed CPU holder, or rather slot.
Socket, maybe?
On the motherboard. And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this motherboard that we got from ASUS.
What the heck did he just do? Was that a PGA socket? Was that like pins on a... What is a CPU applicator? Am I just out of the loop? What the heck is that?
Applicator. This is a
like
special little part that...
What the heck is he doing right here? He's like...
Not everyone...
That's not a PGA. That looks like an LGA thing, but what is he doing? I just don't know what he's doing right here.
May get, but this...
What the... Was something coming off?
Motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one, and it's an 8th generation chip, and it...
I have 8 cores and 16 threads, man. Come at me, bro. Oh, wait, you deleted the video.
It's ready to go, and it supports overclocking. So what having this...
I have $60 or $60 to $80 CPU that supports overclocking too. Oh!
This little installer does for you is it's basically a brace that you can apply right to the CPU and light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard and then apply thermal paste and then...
Stop moving the CPU like that. Stop going whoo 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 whoo.
Apply a CPU
You're not Linus.
cooler on top. And we're just going to carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that...
They're called zero insertion sockets for a reason. Zero insertion force socket. Never
make sure that
press down on it.
And we're just going to carefully lean...
No! I just rewinded and put that part and ugh. Okay. Camera stopped recording.
Lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up. And we're going to...
Ooh. Did he not install that correctly?
Lean it down into the system and make...
Watch this.
Everything lines up.
Everything lines up. Kaboing.
So we're about to apply.
He didn't even show himself like locking it in. Linus does that like every single time. Shows he like not with the stupid artistic shot where I can't see half the CPU.
Thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a
Not every CPU cooler.
circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU. The final portion is to add.
Would you look at that terrible thermal paste application? I know that everyone on YouTube has to be the master at thermal paste application, such as Steve from Gamers Nexus is. But that was just kind of dumb because the CPU die is in the center. And he was putting it like all around the CPU die. If you're going to put a lot, at least put a lot in the center.
Brackets and holders right here, and they're going to keep the
No,
cooler
they're not
raised off the
brackets.
processor, but it's also going to be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it.
They're going to keep the cooler off the processor, but it's going to be close enough to make physical contact.
Like basically keep it cool.
It's not going to basically keep it cool. It's going to literally keep it cool completely. That's what a CPU cooler is that you're mounting on the CPU.
Thumb screws like this.
Whoo, the Verge. I dislike your editing style so much because when a guy says like this and you're trying to show how to build a PC, and some of these shots have been terrible, I haven't even said anything about them, but this one stood out to me. He said do it like this, and it's a wide shot and he's not centered,
And just screw them on.
I can't even see what he's doing. Even my stupid how to put a Hyper 212 Evo on a CPU video did better than this. You can't really see these screws up here, but you unscrew them in a star pattern so you don't. And I think that video is terrible.
So now that our internals are done, we're going to put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass.
It's not finished. You haven't connected your pump, your fans. Did he even put the power in the GPU? Did he even put power in the... I don't know. And then... Well, I guess he has a drive in there. And never... Like, turn it on before you put the stuff in. When did he even put in the motherboard? Did I miss that? Yeah, he put in the motherboard, but he never is like, hey, I put in the standoffs.
Front glass, and of course, the back panel where all of this fun stuff is happening. So we fully built
Fun stuff, aka the PC maker's nightmare.
the PC, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So what's next? Well,
You didn't get to the post screen. All I see is a freaking B-roll shot. I don't see the post screen.
you need a USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it, and of course, a license key. So I plugged that
With Windows 10, you don't need a license key, but you should get one because piracy is bad. Fast car.
ray tracing GPUs come out, for example. I'll be able to upgrade without having to buy a completely new system.
Who even thinks, like, who was this video for? To where you think that, like, you need a whole entire new computer just for a new GPU? What? Like, maybe a new power supply, but...
And if I have a problem down the line, I can always just swap out a part and have it serviced rather than losing my whole computer.
What the crap is that supposed to mean? You don't lose your whole computer when a part fails in a pre-build or something. You just replace the component. I was looking behind me because I had my motherboard hanging there that I replaced with the other motherboard, which I just... And that was a pre-built, and I didn't lose the whole computer just because one part failed. I don't know what he's trying to get at.
And of course now we also have a computer to test and benchmark games here at the Verge.
I don't think anyone's looking forward to those videos. Comment down below if you're actually looking forward to the Verge's game.
Thanks for
videos.
watching. Let me know if you've built a computer before yourself.
Okay, Stefan.
Or how-
What the crap? The freaking credits lasted for like a second.
Thanks for watching. Let me know.
Stefan, I don't know what that is. But Phil Esposito? Alexa, play Despacito. Phil Esposito? How about you Google Jay's 2 cents and learn how to do it properly? Also, Becca and Tom, figure out what you're doing.
If you've built a computer before yourself, or how...
Stefan, not great. Work on your acting, but just watch Jay's 2 cents, Paul's Hardware, Gamers Nexus, Bitwit, Linus Tech Tips. Learn a little bit more before you make another video, please.
you would spend $2,000 on your own build.
Oh, now we get the people are really in charge of it. Meg, Sarah, Steven, and Eleanor, and Nile, whatever your names are. Whew. Good thing you put your names here so we can know whose creative decisions these were.
I'm really interested in seeing what sort of parts you guys would get. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Verge if you haven't already.
So thank you guys so much for watching. I will be having a video on how to build a PC sometime soon. Hopefully it'll be better than this one. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And check out the rest of my videos. I'll have a playlist of my PC videos in the description. And I will see you guys in the next video.